Alright. Hi guys, it's me. I want to talk about like a very serious subject, which is mental illnesses, because there's a lot of people in the world that thinks that if you have a mental illness, you're weak-minded, or that you can just get over it, which is not the case. I suffer from 4 different ones: depression, bipolar, post-traumatic stress disorder, and anxiety. Now, they can be, they are all serious. But with the right medication, you can maintain it. But it's still a very serious issue, because if a person suffers from, if a person suffers from bipolar, especially if they're not on no medicine, their mind begins playing tricks on them. Or they can get so depressed that they might hurt themselves. Or they can become so angry and so full of rage out of nowhere that they could hurt someone else. A lot of people who commit crimes, like serious crimes, are mentally ill. Not saying that is an excuse, but let's say you know someone who's a schizophrenic, and they have an episode where they think that someone's going to hurt them, or they see someone who has hurt them in the past. They're most likely going to do something to protect themselves, because they're suffering from the illness. Sometimes the person doesn't even know what they're doing, because they stop taking the medicine, or the medicine simply stops working altogether, because our bodies sometimes with some medicines can become the medicine will stop working because it becomes immune to the medicine, and when the body is immune to it, it doesn't work. A lot of people who commit suicide is depressed. We're not talking about like as if, because see, depression is not like you're sad one day and you get over it. That's not depression is like. Depression, I mean, to everybody it's very different, but to me, the feeling of depression is like you're drowning, or you're literally drowning. You can't breathe. You're suffocating, because everything has ever happened to you made you feel that way, and you feel like you're trying to reach out to someone or trying to breathe, but you can't. It could also mean that, people who are depressed, they try to find different ways to cope. Because coping mechanism, it can be good, but it can be also bad. Some people choose drugs and alcohol, but that doesn't work. See, the reason why the drugs and alcohol does not work, because they're just temporarily. They're only temporarily. Let's say if a person's depressed and they decide to drink, and for a while, it helps, but in reality, it makes it even worse, because they haven't dealt with it. Now, you see, I suffer from it, and I decide, like I like to read, I like to play video games and draw. For me, it is easy, because I can try to relax and get my mind somewhere where it can be safe. And I also take my medicine. The important thing is, though, when it comes to your medicine, if you're not used to taking it, you have to take it all the time. Because the moment you stop taking it, I mean, probably won't happen right away. But eventually it will, because your body is not, you're not having what you need to keep the chemicals in your brain balanced. And I also want to suggest one other thing. To anyone that suffers from any kind of mental illness, I want you to know you're not alone. Everybody has battles that other people may not understand and may think that we're weak-minded. It's not weak. You're fighting a battle, the same battle, every day. You're getting up, doing everything you can while you suffer from these illnesses. These illnesses, yes, can kill you. And they can be a cause of many people's deaths. Not just deaths. And it can, the person become hollow. What I'm saying is, if you do drugs, please don't. There are always better ways to cope, but eventually it is up to you to decide how to cope. But just know, you have to try to find something that would work. Because there's a lot of coping skills that can help you, instead of just building it in and just hiding it. Find other ways, like writing. A lot of people like to write, and because they feel like they can't talk about it because it's hard to explain how you feel, so they write. I also like to role play, and for me that is probably one of the best ways, because I can't always talk about everything that I went through, even when I was a teenager. So I would role play it, and for me, I would get all my emotions out, how I feel, while pretending to be someone else. This is a serious deal, and not everybody who suffers from these are bad people. I'm not saying there's not, because there are bad people who exploits their illnesses and decide to use it as a weapon. Which is not right, because it makes everybody else, or the people who really does suffer from it, look as if they're going to be the same. But in reality, we're not the same. But anyway, and the people who think that we're weak-minded, I want to ask you something. And I want you to think really hard. Have you ever thought about killing yourself? Or attempting it? Have you ever gotten so low to the point that you feel like that there's nothing here on earth for you? That you would rather be dead? Because that right there, that's depression. When you become so helpless, you become hopeless. You don't feel any joy. You feel numb to any emotion. You just feel basically like a hollow. No emotion. Or a robot. Because every person feels something. Even it's just tiny things. And when you're so depressed, you feel nothing. Or when you have an anxiety, you feel everything. Because you don't know what to do. You feel like you're going to mess up. Your anxiety is messing with you. And yet you feel like if you don't do it, like it's hard to make friends. It's hard to ask for help in school because you don't want to say something out loud. You're just afraid to say anything out loud, so other people will be staring at you. With bipolar, it's kind of like, in a way, it's kind of like you're a vampire. Because at least for me, I feel everything, it's heightened, it's magnified. It's like you feel you feel every emotion, but it's like 10 times worse. That's, for me, it's what bipolar is like. And post-traumatic stress disorder is also very serious. There's a lot of people who's committed murders because their mind is somewhere else. Or like, you know, an explosion could happen. And they could be back in a war that they've done. Or in some cases, a rape victim can smell certain kinds of smells, and it takes the mind back to where they were raped. And it's always traumatizing. And it's always serious. Especially if you do not get treated. You need to get treated. Because in the only way you can try to get past it and be able to maintain it and live a somewhat healthy life, mentally at least, if you get help and you do anything you can so you are mentally stable. Because if you're healthy physically, that's good. But if you do not have a healthy mind, because your mind affects everything. Your body may affect the mind because it's hurting, but the mind affects everything. It affects how you feel, and it affects you how you react to others. It affects if you want to do anything at all. There's a lot of people who quit their jobs because they think that, what's the point? And I just want anybody to know, if you want to comment below and tell me your story, you can. You don't have to. But just know, if you ever need a friend, you could always message me on Facebook or somewhere, or if you want, you can talk to me on here and I will talk to you. Because I know what it's like to suffer from these, and it's not easy. Because every day, you have to literally fight. You're fighting yourself. You're literally fighting, like you're the version of yourself that you don't want to be. Alright guys, bye.